I lived with Song Xiucheng for 10 years, and then a woman named Wen Mingzhu entered our lives. Little did she know, Song Xiucheng had long become my tattoo. Are you stupid? Run out of the mental hospital. Don't embarrass me from this. Wen Mingzhu crossed her waist and scolded, attracting pedestrians to watch, and some people took mobile phone videos. We were surrounded in the middle, and everyone's eyes were like needles. I'm really shameless at my age. I wanted to run away, but I couldn't move. Wen Mingzhu kept cursing, but seeing that there was no response, she slapped me on the body. She waved her hand, stepped on her slender high heels, and said arrogantly, "If you are sick, go to treatment, and don't leave from here." If I were you, I would have gone into the cracks in the ground long ago. Seeing no response, Wen Mingzhu grabbed my hair, and my face was torn out of shape by her. Her face was marked with blood by her sharp nails. My face turned pale as I fled the scene, break through the crowd and rush out, with only one thought in mind, that is, go home quickly. Wen Mingzhu's voice suddenly rose 3 degrees. "You bastard! Who let you go?" Leaving Wen Mingzhu behind, I finally ran home out of breath, opened the door, and headed straight for the mirror. She shredded her clothes and reflected the beautiful tattoo on her back in the mirror. I breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the tattoo is still there. I have been with Song Xiucheng for 10 years. At first he was gentle and elegant, like a gentle jade. He takes care of every aspect of my life. When taking a shower, test the water temperature beforehand. When I get dirty, he patiently and gently wipes me clean. He said that I was his pride, and that he would always do his best to love only me. Later, a woman appeared in our life, Wen Mingzhu. Her family is in good condition. Her parents are both high-ranking officials within the system, and her family is also very wealthy. Wen Mingzhu once rubbed my face with her delicate fingers and said to me, "You are the most beautiful thing I have ever seen, and I like you so much." But she can't speak the name at all. She is arrogant and domineering, showing off her power in front of me. When Wen Mingzhu and Song Xiucheng were shopping together, she held Song Xiucheng's arm and intimately pointed at expensive goods one by one, asking for this and that. Song Xiucheng grinned behind his ear and happily bought it all for her. That night, Song Xiucheng and Wen Mingzhu drank until midnight. Wen Mingzhu put her arms around his neck and breathed in his ear, "Xiucheng, I love you." Song Xiucheng put his big hands around Wen Mingzhu's thin waist and rubbed it up and down. "I love you too." I watched them hugging each other, kissing. With only a few clothes left, I secretly looked at the scene in front of me, unable to believe it, and thought to myself, "Song Xiucheng, what are you doing? You." Suddenly, Song Xiucheng suddenly pushed Wen Mingzhu away. "I have a girlfriend." Wen Mingzhu slammed into the corner of the table. She rubbed her red waist and said coquettishly, "What nonsense are you talking about? I'm your girlfriend. You love me the most, right?" After saying that, he pounced on her excitedly. Song Xiucheng didn't push her away this time. Late at night, Song Xiucheng returned home. Cold pot and cold stove, clear and cold. He turned on the living room light, and the hard white light hurt my eyes. Song Xiucheng threw his coat on the sofa, slumped on the sofa, and tilted his head. She seduced me. I pushed her away. The air was silent, and no one spoke. Song Xiucheng didn't get a response, and his voice gradually became sobbing. "We've been together for 10 years, and we haven't made any progress. Yes, I'm from a rural area, and my family is not good. My parents are old, and they want me to have a future. You blame me." There was still no response, and the door rang. Song Xiucheng realized that someone was leaving, and suddenly, like a cat whose tail had been stepped on, he picked up the ashtray and smashed it over. Immediately, blood flowed. Song Xiucheng, an adult male of nearly 200 caddies, punched and kicked violently, and punched his body one after another. "You want to live? You look down on me, don't you? You look down on my rural background. I tell you, I worked hard on my own. I can find whoever I want. I rely on my own strength." Song Xiucheng's fist landed on his body one after another, and the shadows of the two people were reflected on the wall. The shadow of the adult male rode on the shadow of the thin woman, picking up his hair and slapping wildly. The woman's shadow was not to be outdone. Struggling to grab the man's back, "Song Xiucheng, what are you crazy about?" The entire room echoed with women's screams and abusive voices. I don't know how long it took. Song Xiucheng got tired. "I don't know how many scars on my face, burning pain, was soaked into tender meat, like Ling Kai." Song Xiucheng wiped the sweat from his forehead, sat back on the sofa panting, and turned the air conditioner to 16 degrees. "Damn, asterisk asterisk." He spat violently and tore his clothes to shreds. Song Xiucheng suddenly stood up and ran frantically to the bathroom, turning his back towards the mirror. Fortunately, the tattoo was still there. When he went to work with Song Xiucheng, His colleague saw the wound on his face. His colleague asked casually, "Why did you get the wound on your face?" Song Xiucheng smiled shyly. "It's okay. I had a fight with my daughter-in-law 2 days ago, and she scratched it." His colleague looked surprised. "How can this man's face be scratched? Right. How embarrassing." Then he expressed his strong agreement with this, but he sighed again and smiled very relieved. "My own family is not in good condition. Their family has been in good condition since they were young. They are little princesses who grew up spoiled, so they will have a little temper." "Oh, dude, isn't that just looking down on your background?" Song Xiucheng sighed and shook his head. "Just in time for the Chinese New Year, I took some gifts and sent them to her house. It's not very expensive, but within my economic range. It's not cheap anymore." My colleague poked his head over in gossip. He shook his head again and said, "But when I sent it over, they didn't say anything. Also, for them, it is indeed something that cannot be put on the table. I just listened, but it didn't sound right." When he went there, he did all the work inside and out of the house, massaging and beating the legs for the elderly. The 2 old men were full of praise for him. Before leaving, he gave him a lot of things in return, but in his eyes, it became a look down on him, and a charity for him, and this little thing was given to him. He turned around and distributed it to his brother and his parents. At that time, he muttered to himself that it was not easy for his parents to raise him so much. They had provided for him to study and go to school, but they had not provided for his younger brother. "Listen, listen, I feel like I'm going pale." Immediately, Li Ying ran to the bathroom again, picked up his clothes, and looked at his back. Fortunately, the tattoo is still there. Regarding tattoos, there is a saying in our hometown. Our hometown is in a very remote and poor mountain valley, and even some very primitive customs are preserved. One of them is the saying about tattoos. If you have a loved one, make her look like a tattoo and paint her back with a specific paint, so that you will be together for the rest of your life, and she will help you meet noble people and achieve prosperity. This folk remedy has been around for hundreds of years, and almost no one knows about it, until now. However, Wu Zi heard this prescription, and he did too. He painted a picture of a beautiful woman on his back. "This is what the most beautiful woman in her heart should look like." That's true. I am the beautiful woman he painted, and he regarded me as his girlfriend, but in reality, Wen Mingzhu was his real girlfriend. After work, he came home and said to me, "I didn't think to hit you yesterday, because you were leaving, and I couldn't bear to leave you." But he didn't hit me. It was Wen Mingzhu. No one wanted to leave, but Wen Mingzhu came back. The phone rang suddenly. He picked it up, and saw that it was Wen Mingzhu. Just after getting on the phone, there was a face-to-face scolding. Song Xiucheng walked a few steps away, looked around, and made sure that there was no one next to him, then nodded at the phone and said, "Uncle and Aunt, I'm sorry. There must be some misunderstanding. I'll go now." "Okay, I'm going to the hospital right now." After hanging up the phone, Song Xiucheng ran back to where he was. "I think he should have told me, baby, I'm in a hurry. You can eat when you're hungry. Don't wait for me." Song Xiucheng rented a car, which was a very stylish car. He also specially tied it up for himself, and the boards he wore were exactly like those in the system. Then he drove to the hospital. When he entered the ward, Wen Ming's parents were there, and his father had a serious face. "Look at what you've done. What did you do to my daughter?" Song Xiucheng nodded and bowed. "Uncle, I really didn't do anything to Mingzhu. There must be some misunderstandings during this period, but I will do my best to take care of Mingzhu. Please believe me." When he said these words, he felt my face turn pale again, sweating profusely. "Bro." After saying that, he took the bird's nest, flour glue, and a series of supplements he bought on the road, and piled them neatly and orderly in the corner. Coupled with his attitude of being beaten up, the Wen family's parents were originally honest people who were duty-bound, and they were not seriously injured. And now they have almost disappeared. Before the second elder could speak, Song Xiucheng was already busy. Wen Ming's father asked her, "Daughter, are you willing to forgive him?" She nodded. "Maybe he drank too much. Since he didn't mean to do it, forgive him." Mother Wen sighed and shook her head. Father Wen stopped her. Song Xiucheng came to the bed and held Wen Ming's hand. "Mingzhu, I am fortunate to meet such a gentle and generous girl like you. I will do my best to treat you well." Wen Mingzhu blushed and nodded. Seeing Wen Mingzhu nod and let go, Song Xiucheng quickly opened the bird's nest and carefully fed it to her mouth. Come, Eat bird's nest. This is nutritious. We don't have it at home. My mother has never eaten such a good thing, Wen Mingzhu said in a hoarse voice. Then buy some for auntie. I still have some superb products at home. Bring 2 boxes to auntie. How is this good? Song Xiucheng's heartbeat suddenly became faster, and he quickly changed his mouth. You have always had a good eye for buying things. My sister's health has not been good since she was a child, and she has never tasted these things. My parents provided for me to study, and they didn't give her any money. Get 2 boxes for my sister too. Wen Mingzhu's voice was brisk. Okay. Wen Mingzhu was originally injured on the skin, and the medicinal products were all nourished with good medicine. Once in place, he recovered quickly, and he could not see any injuries when he sent these boxes of birds' nests to Song Xiucheng. Song Xiucheng suddenly opened his mouth and invited, I really recognize you in my life. Do you want to go back to the village to accompany me to meet my parents? The family is looking forward to seeing you. Wen Mingzhu was silent for a while, then nodded, and agreed. Okay, then I'll pack up and change my clothes. Song Xiucheng took the bird's nest. Then you dress beautifully and let them look at it. I found them a beautiful daughter-in-law. Wen Mingzhu smiled and walked briskly around Song Xiucheng before returning to the house to change clothes. As soon as she left, the corners of Song Xiucheng's mouth drooped. He looked down at the boxes of birds' nests, and muttered to himself, baby, I didn't mean to cheat. I'm also thinking about my future. When I have the ability, I can give you a better life. You won't blame me, right? Hearing his words, my newly healed wound almost tore again. If I had known, I would have rotted in the factory. Wen Mingzhu changed her clothes, and immediately took Song Xiucheng's arm. Song Xiucheng drove Wen Mingzhu to the train station, and told her when he got off the bus, I bought a ticket for you. You don't need to buy it. Wen Mingzhu praised him with a smile, but she soon stopped laughing. After nearly 40 hours of travel, Song Xiucheng bought a green leather hard seat. Wen Mingzhu stood still and asked him, is the plane out of tickets? Song Xiucheng waved his hand indifferently. Yes, but the high-speed rail and plane are too expensive, so they are all fooled into taking it. It's just a few more hours, so you can get there no matter what, and the plane is narrow. How can you keep up with the train comfortably? Wen Mingzhu took out her phone to change it. I'll change planes. Song Xiucheng instantly became angry, and snapped the phone in her hand. Don't you want to go with me? I have sacrificed too much for you. Do you dislike me? I didn't mean that. Then what do you mean? Song Xiucheng did not give up. You are a rich lady. You don't know what the life of the poor is like, but my parents have never taken a train in their life. We are going to get married in the future. We should understand each other, right? Okay then. Song Xiucheng smiled. He felt very satisfied at this moment. He took Wen Mingzhu's hand, took her white silk dress, and walked into the carriage full of smoke and decay. I felt uncomfortable, choking all the way, and my face turned white, not to mention Wen Mingzhu. I think by the time I reach my destination, I can fade by 2 degrees, after finally swaying to the place. Wen Mingzhu's face was very bad. When he stood up, he held his slender waist with his hands. What's wrong with you? Song Xiucheng frowned. Wen Mingzhu shook her head. It's all right, my waist hurts a little. Song Xiucheng didn't care and said, your physical fitness is too poor. Like my mother and my sister-in-law, they go to the field to work every day. You can do more work and your body will be fine. After taking 2 steps on the dusty path, but you just came here after all, baby. I can't let you suffer this grievance. Just sit with me. Wen Mingzhu smiled and nodded. At this time, 2 dirty children suddenly rushed out, and wiped their dirty hands on Wen Mingzhu's white skirt. 2 mud handprints appeared on the white skirt. Hey, here comes a little white asterisk 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 asterisk. Hearing this address, Wen Mingzhu's face suddenly paled. She asked Song Xiucheng in disbelief, what did they just say? Did they call me? Don't listen to their nonsense. Saying that, he drove the 2 children away. After you go back, let my mother wash your clothes for you. My sister has new clothes. You can make do with them first. Don't dislike it. Song Xiucheng's family saw Wen Mingzhu, and gathered around to watch like a rare object. This little asterisk asterisk really white. Become his brother? What nonsense. The girls in the city look good. Song Xiucheng saw that Wen Mingzhu was uncomfortable, so he stepped forward and kicked away all the relatives who were watching the fun. So he asked his sister to find a new dress for her to wear. While changing his clothes, Song Xiucheng hid to the side, looked at a picture on his mobile phone, and said to himself, wife, I haven't brought you home yet. I will definitely bring you back in the future, trust me. I took advantage of him to turn around, and saw the picture clearly. That was me. I thought he would feel guilty about my wife, but I didn't expect that his progress with Wen Mingzhu would turn out like this. During dinner, his sister wouldn't let Wen Mingzhu come to the table. We have never had a woman come to the table to eat. You will be our daughter-in-law in the future, so you should eat on the stove with us. Before Wen Mingzhu could speak, Song Xiucheng raised his hand and said, "Sister, what are you talking about? She has never experienced this kind of thing since she was a child. It is the best for her to come under such conditions." What else did his sister want to say? So he blocked it back. The result was an exception. While they were eating, there was a woman on the table. After dinner, his sister gave Wen Mingzhu another slap and asked her to wash the dishes. Song Xiucheng stopped him. "Do you see her hand like a hand that washes dishes? Oh come. His mother stopped him. "You're a big man washing dishes and spreading jokes." Song Xiucheng said, "Mom, you are old-fashioned. What is the shame of feeling sorry for your daughter-in-law? I can marry such a good daughter-in-law, and the ancestral grave isn't in green smoke." But I know that's not what he thinks in his heart. He thinks the same as his mother. Returning to the city, Wen Mingzhu immediately proposed to his parents that they would get married. Wen Mingzhu said that his willingness to break with tradition to protect her proves that his ideological realm is different from that of his family. They will live in the city in the future, not in a mountain village, and their living conditions and environment will still be very good. The Wen parents couldn't persuade their daughter, so they had to agree. My face turned pale again. I know that Song Xiucheng is excited. Wen Mingzhu's good days are over. Song Xiucheng couldn't take out the bride price, and the Wen family's parents didn't lack this money. Nor did they worry about their daughter's lack of money. Song Xiu achieved a clean person, which made Wen Mingzhu die. Wen's father trained Song Xiucheng to be his heir for his daughter's life. Song Xiucheng also strived to be promoted to 2 levels in less than 2 years. Once he stabilized, he had other thoughts. "Wife, let's have a child." Wen Mingzhu frowned. "It's too fast. I still want to spend 2 more years in the world." Song Xiucheng suddenly changed his face. "Don't you want a child who is like you, and like me?" Wen Mingzhu trembled, probably scared. "I want to, but..." My face was suddenly squeezed, and Song Xiucheng's muscles shrank. "That's fine. Let's hurry up and have one while you are still young. Women have children through hell. If you are older in the future, because giving birth to a child has 3 long and 2 short, how can I live?" Wen Mingzhu, "Okay then." Lingering all night. A month later, Wen Mingzhu was found to be pregnant. Song Xiucheng was overjoyed. Wen Mingzhu leaned sweetly in his arms. "I wish it was a girl. What a sweet little padded jacket. Yes, I also hope to be a daughter." Although Song Xiucheng said so, I know that he doesn't think so in his heart. Daughter, is he dead? Of course, he would not tell Wen Mingzhu this at present. In the blink of an eye, when Wen Mingzhu was 8 months pregnant, Song Xiucheng went back to his original house. Every now and then, he carried large and small bags of expensive gifts in front of the mirror. With his back to the mirror, I projected on the mirror, "Wife, I stole Wen Mingzhu's card. This is all for you. You won't blame me, right?" With the sound of the door stuck, Song Xiucheng's hair stood up. Wen Mingzhu had a big belly and was puzzled. "Husband, what are you doing here?" Song Xiucheng closed the bathroom door in a panic and pushed Wen Mingzhu out. "Nothing. Why are you here?" Wen Mingzhu frowned and looked at him. "What's in the bathroom?" He was about to open the door. "Nothing." Song Xiucheng rushed over to block her. Wen Mingzhu turned her eyes up and down, pushed him away with force,